Today I am talking about the improvements that I would like to see from the EMG line, as I have been a little bit critical on it, but I think that could actually be fixed in long term. I do have specific reasons as to why that could get patched out, depending on what exactly contracts, things like that, Evike has. Granted, I don't know exactly what deals they have. But one thing I do want to touch into with Evike.com is they actually did reach out to me and comment on the last video, and they did mention that Evike and Cybergun are the same company. This is something that I was unaware of, simply. I do apologize, Evike. As a Evike affiliate, I should have known that. But in September 12, 2024, and I can put up on screen here, they had done a Cybergun acquisition. Now, this, in my opinion, is actually a big step for the EMG line. I think this is going to just make it better in a lot of ways. As I personally, I do like Cybergun stuff. I do have some minor issues that I do want to touch on, but I don't think these are issues on Cybergun personally. I'll get into those in a minute. So I do have two Cybergun AGs that had some minor problems, but overall the quality was really good. So I don't hinder on the brand at all, because overall I think the quality was good. There was just a few minor things here and there. So yes, Evike and Cybergun, all the same thing. I do apologize about that. I did get another message also telling me about that, but which I do want to get into with the other video, which was basically they had mentioned that, yeah, Evike and Cybergun are the same thing, but they also did it in a way that I didn't particularly like. So they essentially said your knowledge of Airsoft licensors and things are lacking, and that the Effenhostel and Novisky and things like that are licensors and don't make Airsoft stuff, right? Which I know that because I have real stuff. I'm a gun tuber slash airsoft tuber, but maybe he's new on the channel and doesn't know. So right off the bat, I mean, I don't even have to tell you if you've been on the channel for a while. But for instance, I'm not supposed to do this because YouTube usually doesn't like it when I do this. This is a Beretta. This is a real Beretta, so I'm aware of real steel licensors in case anyone has to question that. I know Novisky and Effenhostel doesn't make real stuff because I have real stuff. Again, this is a actual... No, YouTube, this is a Airsoft 1911. No, don't get mad at me. It's totally Airsoft. And then I have a... This one's actually an interesting one I do want to get into. A Glock. In case you don't know, for the longest time, Glock didn't want to license anything Airsoft-wise. They absolutely wanted nothing to do with the Airsoft market. So, in case you're wondering, yeah, I know that Glock and Beretta doesn't make Airsoft stuff, then they just put their name on stuff, right? Jeez, I don't even remember this. This one's a T-SAS. It's just a 1911 to me. It's this one that I posted. This one's a T-SAS in particular. I don't know anything about T-SAS. I just thought this was a really nice looking in 1911, personally. It has a nice textured grip on the sides. It's just a nice looking 1911. So I got the 19, I got the Glock, I got the Beretta, which is a really weird mashup because usually the Glock and the 1911 users aren't friendly with each other, but I like both of them, personally. But I also like the AO and the AK, which usually people don't like to put those together either. But anyways, so yeah, I know about licensors in case anyone has to question that again from here on out. I'm very aware that Effenhostel Beretta, for instance, as well, because Beretta does have some Airsoft licensing stuff. I'm trying to find my Beretta here. There's my Beretta, which has the little Beretta logo on it as well. So yeah, Cybergun is the same thing as Evike, and I do know about the licensors, but I did end up removing his comment because I didn't like how he was responding. And honestly, I could have responded to him a bit nicer, but I wasn't in the best moment at the time to be dealing with comments in the comic section, to be honest. So yeah, he's just like, he was basically giving me a whole time, which You know, it's fine. I don't know everything. I'm gonna be honest. And yeah, the Cybergun acquisition. Oh, whatever. The Cybergun Evike module. So Evike, yeah, I didn't know about this one, and there's a good reason why. And of course, again, the other Commodore doesn't probably know because he's probably new to the channel. So in case you guys don't know, I pretty much disassociated myself with the entire Airsoft community and even Airsoft on YouTube at the start of 2024. And the reason for that is because my two guys, Savage and Wildcat, which were basically my Airsoft buddies, you probably have an Airsoft buddy as well. Wildcat moved on to a new location and he pretty much started a new life, and I just lost contact with him. And then Savage had passed away. Now, I do get more into that on the Shadow IRL channel, and I can show you the video on screen now. I do get more on that channel. I will get into it more on this channel later, but that's not the point of this video. We're going to be talking about EMG today, and some stuff with, obviously, last video, because I guess I had some information that wasn't totally right. Technically, on a technicality, I wasn't wrong. Cybergun and Evike all separate. They were just separate up until September 12th, which obviously I didn't know that. Because of Savage's passing, it pretty much set me to where I had to disassociate completely from Airsoft as a whole, and I'm not really back. I mean, even if you look at my channel, I was uploading like 2, 3 times a week. Now what is it? It's like it was like once or twice a month, and then now I'm kind of back, but not really. I'm doing Evike videos and no gameplay 'cause I'm not playing Airsoft right now, I'm gonna be honest. I'm doing mostly Evike videos, and the reason why I'm doing Evike videos is because, first of all, I just like Evike. I do. So I like Evike. I like Evike.com. I always have. I buy my stuff from Evike.com. Secondly, I have a Evike affiliate, which does help me out if you use that link. And honestly, that's the only source of income I get from YouTube right now because YouTube doesn't have me monetized. So that's the only income I get, which honestly it's not anything. It's like it really isn't anything because a lot of you guys I think just watch the videos and don't really use the link, which is fine. I'm just letting you know the link's there and it's basically kind of like a donation. So I use Evike because I like them. Yes, I do hate on EMG, but not all of EMGs are bad. But I do have a very specific reason why I don't like them, which I'll get into. But I think the EMG line, honestly, can be really good. I see potential in it. I really do. I do see potential in it. And I like Evike because they have the Epic Deals page. They have the mystery boxes and everything, right? So I make these videos simply because I like Evike. I could do any other Airsoft retailer, but I choose Evike.com. And yeah, I did do an Airsoft GI video, and I'll probably do a couple other retailers, but for the most part, I'm going to focus on Evike because that's where my stuff comes from. That's where my stuff I buy comes from. So I mostly focus on Evike. That is my main focus because that's where my stuff comes from. That's the one I have the most experience with. So anyways, that's everything with last video. Now with the Cybergun, I do want to touch on a little bit. The Cybergun, like stuff that I have that I've had some issues with. I just want to touch up on it in case Evike sees this video, which I assume they probably will. So that way they can patch those little tweaks, and it's just with two specific products. It's not with like the Cybergun in general. It's with two specific products. One is the Cybergun P90, not the one I was looking at in the last video. It is okay. This is the one that I have now. Keep in mind, I got this before the Evike Cybergun module, so this could be completely. This could no longer be a thing. I don't know unless Evike tells me. Because obviously I'm not going to buy another one because I already have one. But, so the problem I had with this one is and again, I don't blame this on Cybergun at all. The selector switch in the P90 broke, so semi-auto no longer works. And I think that broke pretty immediately, to be honest. But the reason why I don't give Cybergun a whole time for this is because I'm pretty sure it's just a P90 issue. I think it's just a flaw in the design of the P90. Because from what I understand, even the Crytek ones sometimes do that and other P90s in the market. And I opened this up and looked at it, and it's not the best design, honestly. So I'm pretty guaranteed it's a P90 issue. The parts in here are all pretty cheap plastic, but I mean, look at the price for it. You're not paying a lot for it, so it's kind of to be expected. Because if they try to increase quality of parts in here, then they gotta up the price, right? And at that point, it's kind of like, well, then you might as well just buy a more expensive P90. So that is one issue I do have with this thing, Evike, if that's possible to fix, which it probably is, but the P90's just kind of got a horrendous design, honestly, on there. Selector switch, kind of like the Vector. I touched on the Vector in the last video, and the Vector is the Crytek Vector has some issues with it internally on that part, but that is just because it's a Vector. Just how like this one's just because it's a P90. It's just sometimes stuff that transfers from real steel to airsoft doesn't work very well, and this is one of those cases. The other Cybergun that I have is kind of a modular one, because this was a Evike Cybergun put together with A&K. I might have to go to my video to actually... Okay, this one. So this is another one that I have that I had some issues with. This is a... Oh no. Okay, that's where they don't list Cybergun here, but it says straight on the box. Like, I can even look at it right now and it says Cybergun. Yeah, the box says Cybergun on it. I thought for sure it was. Yeah, the Cybergun. So this is another one I had some issues with, but again, I don't think it's an issue with Cybergun, especially on this one. So the gearbox is obviously going to be A&K, I assume. I'm going to assume. It says custom, so I don't know exactly what parts in this is. So it says right here, manufacturer A&K and Evike limited edition. So maybe the box just says Cybergun on it, and it doesn't actually have anything to do with Cybergun. And it could be because it's Evike as well, because again, Evike and Cybergun are together. I don't know if there's anything that says when this was released, though. Because again, that happened in 2024 of September when they purchased it. But anyways, yeah, so I did have a few issues with this thing. Internally, it works really good. This one's really good. So I have no issues with it internally. I think it's more of a... So they only make 100 of these, right? So this is very specific to why the problem I have is probably more of like a little problem and not a massive scale problem. So being they're only making 100 of these, they are not mass produced, obviously, because there's only 100 of them. So I assume Evike can... Like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And again, you can actually email me as well. You don't have to comment publicly about anything. You can email me specifically. I have an email in my description. But I assume that these are probably made in the Evike, like a Evike manufacturing site or like Evike shop, something like that. I assume they make them within Evike, the company, especially because it kind of says manufacturer when it has Evike listed. So I assume they probably have a gunsmith work on these, right, that works for Evike. So the problem that I ran into with this one is the hop-up was installed wrong, like completely. Like it wouldn't even give me any hop whatsoever. It didn't matter if I lowered it, if I upped it, it was just not installed properly. The other thing I had trouble with this on is the screws will tighten and to the point they will shredded. So the screws got screwed up on the outer body. Looking at it, I assume Cybergun doesn't have anything to do with it, so it's weird that it's on the box. But I'm talking about now, so we're gonna keep going through it. So yeah, the screws were totally destroyed. A couple of them, not all of them. A couple of them on the outside body were destroyed. The hop-up was also installed wrong. So I put some tight lock on the screws and I reinstalled the hop-up myself. Part of me thought, well, maybe I should just return it. Then I was kind of like, well, I got it on clearance. I got it like on clearance for like this steel right here. And the other thing was I didn't want to send back a 20-pound AEG in all fairness. I really didn't want to send it back. because it was just trying to send that back sounds like a hassle and a half, and I was waiting for a good little while just to receive it, so I wasn't really too keen on sending it back and getting another one. I'll send it back, then changing it, and then send the same one back. So, that I did have some issues on, but I just again, I fixed the minor issues that was fixable because I knew how to fix them. But maybe it's something you wanna look at the other ones that you have left, because you still have some in stock, just to double check a few things and ensure that there was no more of those issues. Because if somebody, for instance, is not a gun tech, right? They don't gun tech anything, then they're not gonna know. They're not gonna know how to install it. And this was my very first M249, right? So I actually didn't know anything about it, but I had Savage, no, not Savage. Wildcat knew about M249s, so I could ask him any questions I needed just fine. So luckily I had guys that did know about them, and I know about some gun tech stuff. But yeah, so just FYI, might be some minor things with this one that might want to be looked into, but I think it's just whoever worked on mine specifically just didn't do it. So I think that's honestly what happened. I think it's just whoever specifically put mine together just put it together right. But everything else works. Like the gearbox, I haven't taken apart. I haven't had to touch it. Gearbox works flawlessly, it shoots accurate, it shoots straight, it shoots really good. So, I don't knock on Cybergun. Honestly, I don't think that one's even Cybergun. I think it just says that on the box, honestly. I don't think it has anything to do with it. But my P90, I think that's just because it's P90. But internally, the P90 is solid. It shoots really good, actually. It hits at 400 FPS on .20 BBs, and it has 350 FPS on .25s, which is really solid for its size. It's very compact, it's very small, and it gets a lot of range. So I'm actually really impressed with it overall. That's why I like Cybergun, because for the price, it's really good. And now Evike and Cybergun are working together. I think that's going to be a really good combo. I think EMG line will definitely improve with that. So I'm actually pretty excited about that. Now, I do want to get into the EMG lineup of why I'm critical on it and what I think could improve it. And the main reason I'm critical on it is because of APS specifically. It has nothing to do with really the EMG line as a whole. And I know the EMG line is basically just Evike licensing stuff. So for the most part, they probably just don't make their own stuff. But APS is a big problem. I've had a just constant issue with APS. I won't even touch the APS, honestly. I just won't touch them. So, and the main reason is the gearboxes. So I have one APS that I will show on screen now. This is me rebuilding a S&T AL. This is my very first AL that I've ever owned, and I put a lot of wear and tear on this thing, so it needed some fixes. And the APS that I basically got handed to me because one of the members of my crew, which was Bojax, he had this. Bojax had this, and it totally just broke and shattered itself. And he tried repairing it, and he does now gunsmithing stuff, but he honestly just said, "Screw it, it's not worth it." He said it's not worth it, and pretty much gave the thing to me for me to use faults. So that's what happened with that APS. He had another APS that I never saw. I never saw the thing. So I assumed that didn't last long either. And then I have the Space Invader, which I did a review video on. The Space Invader. Okay, here's the Space Invader that I have. The black and red one specifically. This has a Silver Edge gearbox. And in case you don't know, Silver Edge, like I can literally just bring up on my computer, it's APS. Yeah, so right here, E Silver Edge gearbox, APS Conception. So the gearbox in there was APS, and this thing's been through 3 different owners. This was originally Wildcats. Then he used it for a few games, said, I don't want to use it anymore. The magazines are just terrible. That's because they don't hold a lot of ammo, so he ditched it to the side. Then it ended up with Savage. Savage used it a little bit. Then it ended up breaking. Then it ended up getting ditched, who knows well. And then I ended up with it in a pile of parts in a grocery bag. Yeah, he basically scrapped it for parts is what happened. So, and it lasted so long that it's like not even in a single video. So every APS we've had, we just didn't like. And from what I'm seeing online, because I even checked right now, like not right now, but I even checked to make sure this is still accurate in 2025. Because again, I've been gone for a year, right? I haven't been airsoft for a year, okay? So I had to double check. It seems like people still don't like APS. APS just has a bad reputation. Now, just because they have a bad reputation doesn't mean they can't turn it around. For instance, Lancer Tactical. In case you don't know, Lancer Tactical, way back in the day, people didn't like. Players didn't like them. They tend to have issues, and they kind of had a bad reputation. I would personally say that Lancer has a pretty solid reputation now. When I first got a Lancer, I got it from Airsoft GI, and I was a little bit skeptical. I got it in one of the raffles, and I was a little bit skeptical when I first got it, because from what I knew, Lancer Tactical had some issues. But I've had personally no issues with it, to where I've actually bought another Lancer Tactical. So Lancer Tactical is a very good show that you can go from having problems with your reputation to going to being a pretty solid brand. Like, I would actually I'm totally fine with buying a Lancer now. Granted, they are more of, like, kind of the beginner/average starting platform, which is why they're all polymer. But I like them because it's a affordable, easy way to get something different just to try something else new. Like, I got the Interceptor, which is like a AR marksman rifle, compatible version. Like, it's kinda like a AR, but it's like a marksman rifle slash AR. I don't remember exactly what they call it off the top of my head right now, because I got a lot of stuff I'm trying to run through right now, so that we're not worried about that. There's a review on that as well. So Lancer's a good way to show that it can get better, but APS has been around so long, and I don't feel like they've really changed much when it comes to the reputation they have. I don't think they've really improved that much. It seems like the community, for the most part, if you know, you know, but the community calls them a piece of blank. If you know, you know. I'm not gonna go and say exactly what it is, and I don't think Evike wants me to either, because Evike does work with APS on some things, and I don't know what your contract is with them, Evike, but I personally think APS needs to go, but that I don't know if that means it'll remove the Space Invader from the list or not. I don't know if that's completely APS making it, or if it's just the gearbox. I do see there's other Space Invaders, though, so I'm curious, because I haven't looked at these. I am curious if these have the same gearbox or it's different. Yeah, Silverheads. I think they're all Silverheads. I think they're all the same thing basically. They're just little. Okay, this is Eds 2. I think that's Silverheads too. I'll look up just to double check. Oh, and sometimes my Google's wrong. I found that out last video because my Google said that Cybergun and Evike was still the same company when they're not. Yeah, it's APS. Yeah, so I don't know if if EMG was to remove APS, if that would completely remove these or not, or if they could still make them, but just put a different gearbox in them. I would like it if you even just change the gears. So I'm gonna put my APS back on screen with my old AL. So my old AL has a S&T gearbox. S&T is affordable, and in my personal opinion, S&T is really good because I have had it work flawlessly. So, in this specific AO, I use the heck out of this thing. I ran this thing like crazy because for the longest time, it was all I had. Because it was my very first one. Everything on it broke, including the external front. The plastic parts completely kind of just wore out, and if I hold it on my back with a sling, the front would come off. Everything wore out, the bell, the bucking, the modal, the external parts of it as well, everything wore out. The one thing that did not break was the S&T gearbox. That is the only thing that still is up and running. Nothing, there was like no sign of wear either. Like nothing. I had to replace everything, but the gearbox still looked really solid. Now, I did swap one of the gills for one of the S&T gills because it looked like it was slightly better condition. I hope I don't regret that. I might regret that decision. I really hope I don't. But only time will tell. So it has a APS front. And it has like one APS gear on it. It has an APS modal. It has a Crytek stuff, and it has the barrel from the limited edition M249. I took the barrel out and I put it in that one. And the reason why is because I upgraded the M249 barrel to a chrome tight ball barrel. So I would actually prefer S&T gills over APS gills. That's just me. I feel like S&T is pretty affordable and probably on par. Now, granted, with APS, you do get that MOSFET trigger system that's already installed in the gearboxes. And as far as I'm aware, S&T doesn't have those because again, S&T is pretty much affordable. But the thing is if the gearbox breaks, it doesn't matter if it has all the bells and whistles on the AG. It can be a perfect AG, but the gearbox doesn't last, then it's just it doesn't function. You can't shoot anything with something that doesn't function right. In the EMG lineup, I like the style of the AGs personally. I think aesthetically they're pleasing to look at. In my opinion, the EMG lineup is very pleasing to the eye, and I like the colors. Like, take for instance the EMG Noveski Space Baby. You have bazooka green, black, chrome. I like this. I like the chrome. I think it looks really cool. Aluminum and flat dark off. And then with other Noveskis, you have like black, red, blue, and then they have. It doesn't even have to be the Noveski. You look at like any EMG, and they just look nice. Honestly, they look nice. Here's a nice tan and black one, but that's pretty basic. But let's see. Yeah, right here. I don't even have to look that far to find a nice one that I like. I think this one looks cool. I think it does. So from an aesthetic point, they look really cool. I like to see APS go. I think it would for me personally, I wouldn't be so critical on them anymore if APS was gone. Because half of them are APS. A lot of them are homed by APS and put together that way. But again, that might remove a lot of products from the EMG line if you were to do that, though. But I think they're bringing the reputation of the EMG line down, personally. The other thing I would like to see done on the EMG line is I would like to see Maple Leaf buckings added, if all possible, because granted, you probably have to get a deal with Maple Leaf to do that. But you sell Maple Leaf on the website, so I feel like that's probably not too full out of it as to do. And it doesn't have to, again, it doesn't have to be every AG, but I would like to see APS buckings, and I would also like to see tight ball bells as well added to the ones that are more full, like outdoor play. So, I mean, I look at this one, see what it has specifically. Yeah, this has a Silver Edge gearbox too. I don't know. Comment down below what your thoughts are on the Silver Edge gearboxes, but they're APS, so I mean, and from what I'm seeing, APS hasn't changed within the year I've been gone. So I just won't touch the APS. I'm sorry, but I just won't. I won't. But if EMG was to make a S&T, like a AEG with S&T gearbox, a Maple Leaf bucking, and a tight ball barrel, I would want it. I seriously would. I would want it. And it doesn't have to be S&T. It can be like another company. Just please not APS. Please no. I just I can't stand it. I just don't want to touch another one. And the other thing is APS is not fun to gunsmith on because the bodies are generally like, they don't work with other gearboxes. They usually specifically want APS. And I like Crytek, and Crytek is like that. You can't just put anything in a Crytek. But I give Crytek a pass because Crytek is, for most players, rated pretty much on top of the market line. I feel like that's a pretty good take. I feel like most players will agree with that Crytek is on top. They all a bit hard to upgrade though, but I really don't feel like you have to change anything about a Crytek. Like, they're built that way for a reason. Crytek looked at Airsoft and basically went, you know what? We wanna make this better. Let's try to improve stuff even if it doesn't work for other things in the market. Let's improve things and just change it and just make it better overall, which I like. Now, the EMG lineup, the thing that's cool about them is pretty much everything you need you can buy on eBay very easily, relatively easily for these. So they all easy upgrade. This one, for instance, this EMG SPL, for this price, I don't think that's really bad to purchase it and then put extra into gunsmithing parts, adding in parts to change the Silverhead's gearbox to actually be other parts and hopefully of better quality. But if you don't know how to gunsmith yourself, then it can cost you a lot. Luckily, I know how to do it. I would definitely recommend learning gunsmithing when it comes to airsoft, 'cause it's just something you're gonna need to know how to do. It really is. It's just something you're gonna wanna know how to do because it can get really expensive, pay for a gunsmith. So, yes, I am critical about the EMG lineup, but I definitely can see how it can improve and honestly be probably my favorite lineup. I want to like the EMG lineup. I really do. Because again, I like Evike.com. I'm affiliate with you guys. I make videos on Evike.com. So, yeah, I would like to like the lineup. I really do because I like the style of them. But I can't get behind APS. I just can't. I've had one too many issues with them, and the reputation is not very good. I mean, maybe they can change it around, but it's been how many years? I don't know. I mean, comment your thoughts on APS now if you own any of them. But from what I'm seeing, APS is still really not good, and they're still a pain to gunsmith. Because, like, I have the tan APS that I put on my S&T. I wanted to I wanted to go ahead and use the external receiver because it's metal and the S&T one is plastic. Except I can't because it has to be APS, specifically a APS receiver for it to work. So I sadly could not do that. So I'm kind of bummed about that. The Space Invader, I am not going to rebuild it and make it really good because I just don't like the magazines in it. But maybe for other people that won't be a deal breaker. For me, it's kind of a deal breaker though, and for Wildcat, it was a deal breaker as well, and Savage. But that's just one model though, and there's multiple models. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on those. And if I am missing any information, if my information's wrong, you can let me know. There's just a certain way you go about it, because the comment I got on the Evike video really didn't go about it in the right way, in my opinion. If I missed something, say, hey, just in case you didn't know, insert information here. You know? Don't say, oh, you don't know anything about licensors, you're spreading misinformation, da da da, when I know about licensors, because, I mean, I have the wheel still, I know about the wheel still. I don't make a lot of wheel still videos because YouTube honestly hinders them, and I feel like it kind of blacklists them. So I focus on the airsoft stuff. The wheel still stuff, when I do wheel still, it is purely because I wanted to, or purely for your guys' entertainment, and that is it. And granted, I could make several of these videos, like the wheel still videos, because I'm not monetized anyways. But I'm trying to get monetized, so I'm not really looking to handle that so much, especially because I'm almost there. So, yeah, anyways, comment down below your thoughts. If you want to message me privately, not publicly as well, you can do that. The Discord is for that. For viewers, there is the Discord. For Evike and companies, there is the email. If you want to post a comment, you can do that as well. But I'm just saying, if you want to do it less public, there is the email. And yes, that's my thoughts on the EMG line and how it could improve. Now, it's not going to happen for 2025. I don't think it's going to happen for 2025 because it takes time to build stuff. It takes time to get partnerships, but I would like to see it for 2026. And right here is the Say Blue. The Say Blue I actually really like, and I actually do want one. I think EMGs, I assume, correct me if I'm wrong, because I personally don't know this. I do not know this at all. So I'm going to be honest before I say this. I don't know this. I think the EMG gas blowbacks all good, but I don't really know. From what I can have seen online, they do seem like they're good. particularly the Say Blue. The Say Blue, from what I've seen, looks like it's actually really good, and I actually do want one. So I think the gas blowback stuff is good, but again, this is a GNP or Australian Arms, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, as far as I know, this one's good. So I think a lot of the gas blowback stuff is good. It's the AEG stuff that's become, in my opinion, problematic because of, yeah. So yeah, anyways, comment your thoughts and things like that. Let me know what your experience is with APS personally and what issues you ran into. And also EMG. I would like to see comments about which specific EMG products are good and why. And I'll make a video on that, and I'll list what you guys thought about it. So yeah, give me some that all good, because the APS ones, I'm just personally not a fan of. That's just me. I'm just not a fan of them at all. But I'd like to know which one's all good that I could actually look at. But anyways, that's gonna be it for this video. Hit the like button, hit the sub button, and I will see you in the next one. And next time you buy a Airsoft item, go ahead and use the link down below and consider purchasing something from Evike.com, which is what I usually do. I'll see you in the next one.